Hi, I'm Alex. I'm the founder of Spinopractic Massage.
And I'm Holly, and I'm a Master Practitioner of Spinopractic Massage and trainer.
Well, look, I'd like to ask you a question. Who here is interested in changing their careers, in working with people to transform their back and neck pain, transform the quality of their spine, and therefore the quality of their life?
Hopefully we have a few who are really interested in that. So I also want to know who here is in the body industry and who wants to actually get more professional, become more, or have a more professional presence in their community.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what I love about what I do. Well, we can show you how to integrate what we do into your practice and bring more value to your service.
Yeah. So who here wants to be able to learn how to make more money by servicing more people and getting to the heart of where muscles are working at their hardest and struggling the most?
Well, I'd really like to show them how to actually give them more service, address more issues in 5 minutes than they probably do in 1 hour.
Yeah, and you can. How about being able to monitor your client's transformation so closely and in a way that's going to be cost effective to your clients? Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. So,
Well, tell us, Alex. Why don't you tell us how you started and what is spinopractic massage actually?
well, before I could even explain what spinopractic massage is, I need to ask two questions. The first question being, when I'm doing what I'm doing, what is it that I'm doing when I'm doing that?
Love it when he does this.
Because we really need to understand what we're doing as practitioners before we can even apply any techniques. And the second question is,
What is the body doing?
that's
When
exactly.
the body's doing what it's doing?
Absolutely.
Yes.
So to be able to ask, what is it that I'm doing when I'm doing what I'm doing, we really have to understand what is it that the body is attempting to do for itself to be able to repair, to be able to stabilize itself, to be able to protect itself. So before I can even go into what is spinopractic massage, we need to visit those two questions.
Fair.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So to be able to visit those two questions, we're going to look at things in a different way. Now, when we're looking at what is the body attempting to do for itself, we need to start looking at this equation called cause and effect. You've heard of cause and effect, right?
Yes.
Now, you've probably heard other practitioners say, we look at the cause of what's going on. Who's heard of that? If you're a practitioner, you probably even use those words.
Sure.
Okay, we're looking at the cause. We're treating the cause. The thing is, what does that actually mean? So I needed to visit that and really start paying attention to what is it that we're treating the cause of, because we can't change what's happened. Like, we can't change the accident, we can't change an injury, we can't change an instability of how it happened.
We can't change the past.
Exactly. We can't change the past. So what does it mean that we go into the cause? We go into the heart. So the cause now becomes the body's repair mechanism. The body's like, what are the conditions that the body has right now to be able to deal with injury, to be able to deal with that situation that it got itself in. So that's what we need to delve into, because now the cause is the cause of repair. I'm hoping that you're with me here, because we delve into this in the course when we do the Master Practitioner training. We delve into really understanding what the cause of repair means. Because without understanding the cause of repair, we're going to be doing the cause of what?
Well, we're really talking about how the body repairs itself.
Yeah.
So whatever the cause is for the injury, or stress on the body's automatically trying to repair that.
Yeah.
Now the question is, what symptom are you dealing with? And the cause related to that, which is the body trying to repair itself. And how we find that is what we teach you.
And that's what we're going to be focusing on in the course, is really understanding that cause. Where is the body struggling to repair itself? Now we're going to be looking at this in the start of musculoskeletal work, understanding what the muscles are doing with the skeleton, especially with the core or the foundation of that skeleton, which is the spine. Okay, because we've got to remember, in the spine we have something that's extremely important in there. That being
the central nervous system.
Exactly. To be able to communicate to every single part of the body, the brain needs to put messages all the way down the spine. Thanks, Holly, for bringing that. Okay, so we need to start looking at the heart of, or the foundation of the body, and that's the spine. I'm quite sure you've seen something like this. Okay, so here we are. We have this amazing structure. So what is the most important function of the structure?
To make us move? Oh, I'm joking. To protect the central nervous system.
Exactly.
All these nerves coming through.
Exactly.
You probably can't see that very well. I actually want to bring that a bit closer so you can see the nerves flowing through there. Yeah, giving you an idea of what's actually housed inside the spine.
Yeah. So regardless of what we want to do with our backs, and we do a lot of things, work, recreation, sports, the way we sit on all day,
even the way we sleep.
The way we sleep. Like we're using our spine all the time. Now, regardless of how we want to use it, the brain's primary function is to protect and preserve itself. Okay. Remember, our brain has been conditioned for thousands of years to be able to be in a protective mechanism. It wants to protect itself from danger. So anything that it's exposed to, your body is going to be working hard to, number one, protect itself. And when it does that,
Absolutely.
when it does that, it builds up stress.
Oh, for sure.
And what happens in the muscles? The muscles end up with all this pressure, and and practitioners. What do we work with pressure points and some things. Trigger points. You've probably worked with them or have seen a practitioner work on you that do that, and that's great because it helps those protective muscles live another day.
Yeah.
To protect you more and more.
To keep
and more.
going.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the more you can work on those, the more your muscles have the opportunity to protect you.
But the way that we work differently is what's relevant here. So what Alex has actually created is utilizing techniques in a very different way to get faster results.
Yeah.
And really, like you said, be right at the heart of what the problem is. And we look at that because if you think of the compromise to the spine, it's going to have some effect on our joints. Maybe we have a compromise at a joint. That's going to have some effect on the spine. So we really need to be looking at how these muscles are functioning, how they're actually stabilizing our joints.
Yeah.
Because if that muscle is loosened off, do you think it would actually be holding your joints?
Well, let's delve into this, okay? So here we are with the spine, it's working really well. Now, for some of you guys that don't know what ligaments are what hold these joints together. We've got strapping ligaments, and we go through them in the course in more detail. So these strapping ligaments are here to hold these joints. So when we move, the spinal cord is safe. The spinal roots are all safe, and the brain can continue communicating to the rest of the body easily and effortlessly. The thing is, when we're exposed to a force that is greater than the body can deal with, what happens is that ligaments start to become damaged, and this is where the difference that makes a difference is in what we do is right here. because now we're not looking at the cause of how this happened, because it could have happened for all sorts. We can't change that, as we said before. However, when this happens, and I want to bring this really, really closely, when this happens, right, you can see that the actual joint now becomes compromised. But the first thing that happens is that it changes the environment of
The nervous system.
the central nervous system. Now, what happens when we change an environment of something?
Usually the environment changes.
Yeah. The function changes. Yeah.
Well, the function, indeed.
So, for example, if we get that plant over there, okay, that's just behind Holly, and I get that plant and I change the environment and I just plonk it in a container just full of sand, do you think the function of the plant will change?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I don't think that plant would really like the loss of all that moisture in
Well,
its soil.
if I get one of those, what are they called, stems?
Yes.
Okay, and I put a rubber band tightly around one of them, what do you think would happen to the end of that plant?
Well, the leaf would shrivel and
'Cause-
die.
And what happens is that we've changed and altered the environment. Change the environment, change the function. So what we're interested in now is the body's response to all this. Okay, because the response now is that this joint is compromised, and now that area is now vulnerable. Okay, because the ligament is now not holding this joint in a stabilized way, in an optimal way.
That's right.
So the reaction to that is that muscles are going to
Contract.
exactly.
They're
They're going to contract.
Hold that.
And why do they contract? Because they have to hold that, as Holly said. It's bringing 2 points together. The muscle doesn't contract because it's bored. The muscle doesn't contract because it wants to relax. Okay, it contracts for a reason. And the thing is, you can massage and massage and massage that for as long as you want. The thing is to try and loosen it off, because a lot of the times that's what we get taught. You can keep going and keep going with that. However, it's not going to change
Compromise.
It's because it's going against.
Correct.
Yeah. Is that, hopefully you're staying with me here. Okay.
Yeah, we're talking about it going against the body's needs.
Yeah.
And if we're going to try and really remove the function of that contraction, well, how are you going to get stability at its most crucial point?
Exactly. So when I pose this question to a civil engineer or a few civil engineers, saying, if we have a suspension bridge and one of those cables is tight, do we loosen it off? And they look at me, it's like, you crazy? No, you would not loosen that off, because that would just completely destroy the integrity of the bridge.
That's
Okay.
right.
So why would we want to do that for the spine? Okay, so something to understand is that the body response to this compromise is it's trying to replace what the ligaments would do, so it can actually start to protect that central nervous system.
Yeah, hold the integrity.
Exactly.
Now, the thing that we look at is not just the spine. This is Spinopractic massage, sure.
Understanding the foundation.
The
Exactly.
foundation is so important. But what we end up working with are all the muscles that are actually holding that spine when
Yes.
it becomes compromised. And those are the muscles going to our other joints.
Exactly.
So we have to look at that, because a lot of people will take hits on the shoulders and damage to the knees.
Yeah.
You know, the function of the hips can be compromised.
Yes.
And those muscles are already trying to stabilize those joints. So if there is that combination of a foundational problem at the spine, can you imagine how challenging it is for the body to actually help a shoulder, let's say.
But and also, as Holly was saying, is that muscles that are trying to protect, say, the shoulder, some of them are also attached to the spine, and they're grabbing, and they're putting pressure on the spine. But again, a lot of people will say, well, we need to loosen this off because this is going to compromise the spine. However, what is the body attempting to do here is not to try, the body isn't bored and so, I'm just going to tighten this muscle here because, just to wake this person up.
Oh, but no, I need to pull that muscle for the shoulder to be stable. So yeah, the body's going to just think about the shoulder alone.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
No, exactly. So we need to start paying attention that the body is doing something for a reason. And that's what we really delve into. So when we actually place pressure on the muscle, we're actually placing pressure in the same direction that body's utilizing the muscle. So we're actually helping the muscle do exactly what it's trying to do. Now, to be able to do that, you need to have highly skilled palpation skills. Okay, now, your sensory acuity needs to heighten so we can really feel this is the direction that the muscle's working. This is where the muscles are attempting to do, what the muscles are attempting to do, and also delving into the fascia.
Oh, I love fascia.
Yeah. Okay. I'm quite sure we've all heard about fascia. Well, if we haven't, fascia is this sheath that not just encapsulates muscles, but it encapsulates everything. Like it wraps
protective fiber through the whole body.
Everywhere. And it's a protective fiber as well. So whenever fascia gets all protective here, it can actually be pulling all the way down, even up down to the legs as well. Okay, so understanding that is that when someone has problems with legs, it can be because of the whole fascial train that starts up here. So by understanding that, we can actually deal with the body in a holistic way and not just focus on removing a symptom. Because the last thing the body wants to do is just stop the symptom while the function is horrible.
Well, I'd have to say if my function is horrible, I don't think I want to stop the symptom because then I can't help the problem that I have with its function.
Yeah.
And that's really what we teach. I mean, we're really unwrapping this.
Yes.
We're really looking at how we can teach you to become more expert in working with the body and helping the instability of the body, creating a more stable and better performing system for your clients.
Exactly. Because the more we actually work with the body, the more efficient we become as practitioners. And this is where Holly was saying, we can actually do something in 5 minutes that a lot of people don't do in an hour, if not, or even more, because we're addressing the heart of where the body is struggling to stabilize these joints, where the body is struggling to optimize the posture. Now, if our posture is not at its best, your muscles are going to be working hard to try and optimize that posture.
We forgot one thing.
Oh, yeah.
Atrophy.
Yes. Now, this is where we really make a difference. Okay.
This is where we really.
Now, who's heard of atrophy? Now, you've probably heard of atrophy in a way that when we break our arm, we put a cast on there, and because we're not using those muscles start to waste away and become atrophy. And that's one way. Okay. But there's another way that happens as well. Now, when a muscle's contracting, it's breaking down. Now, when we go and train, think about going to the gym and we're training. Why are we training? We're breaking. It's exactly, we're building, but to build, we're breaking down first. So as we're breaking that muscle down while we train, we have to then repair.
Rest.
Exactly. When we rest, we repair, and we repair a little bit bigger, and that's called hypertrophy. That's what we're attempting to do when we go to the gym. However, if the muscle remains like this, and I'm quite sure you've all been in this situation, having heavy shopping bags, having to walk a long way, you'd have to put it down. Because what happens to the forearm? What happens to the forearm?
Forearm goes weak.
Exactly. The forearm goes weak. Exactly. So and look at
But like a lot of necks go
and
weak.
look at what Holly's doing there. She's doing this, and we do this for an extended period. Okay, we're doing that for an extended period. And when you do anything for an extended period, that muscle is always switched on. And when the muscle's always switched on, it's continuously breaking down. Now, this is the interesting thing. You have a compromise in your spine where those ligaments have been damaged. That muscle's always on. It's not going to let go. It's always on. So the thing, by that being on all the time, eventually that muscle is going to be overwhelmed and completely switch off. Now, when that switches off, it hasn't switched. It becomes atrophy, but it doesn't become atrophy because we weren't using it. It's because it's overused, it's overwhelmed, and it's completely shut down. And we could have prevented that. And we could have prevented that by helping those muscles do what they're trying to do with our techniques. Okay.
And if you think about it, that's not something that happens automatically. It takes a bit of time.
It certainly does.
But it is a frequent and consistent problem with the posture, or a frequent and consistent sort of force on the body that's going to create that struggle, right?
Exactly.
So, what do we need? Frequent and consistent help.
Yeah, exactly.
To repair.
And that's where we monitor spines very closely. Now, what we're looking at is that when we apply this pressure, how does the body respond? And then so we have the whole system of really understanding when we apply a pressure, we're not here to loosen, we're here to help. Now, how well does an individual's muscle and an individual's body respond is based upon them coming back and we checking them all over again to see how well everything's responding. So therefore, we're going right to the heart of what the body's attempting to do and how well it responds to our help. So we want to monitor the person closely, which is a very different way of looking at muscles compared to the traditional way of trying to loosen something, then see them in a month's time and try to loosen them again, and then the person says it keeps coming back. Okay. The thing is, this issue didn't go away in the first place because it hasn't been stabilized. Now, the way that a body can become stabilized again is that if that ligament becomes repaired. And for the ligament to be repaired, we need to help the body create the environment. So we need to help those muscles optimize the environment of the spine. And that's all we have now. We have muscles that are trying to take over. So the more those muscles can adapt and the more those muscles can actually do the work, then the ligaments have a chance to repair. I'm hoping you're still with me here, okay? And the thing is, you know, you will have an opportunity at the end of this webinar to to make a call with us if this is something that you look at seriously. But before that, let's delve into what we're doing a little bit more.
Yeah, let's do that, because we can get into the technicalities, but at the end of the day, it's really about the profession.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
And so what we do is expand on these ideas, we expand on these concepts, and we teach real specific palpation skills, knowing how to touch, you know, what sort of pressures to put, where to put them, and which muscles to put them onto.
Exactly.
There are some specifics to the technique, which is what gives us the success and the results that we have. So we want to be able to share those with you.
Yeah.
And we want to do that for the individual who's really driven.
Yes.
Driven to want to help more people.
Yes. And we're looking at people that do want to have a profession more so than learn a modality, because we're here to teach a whole system of working with people in a way that that professionals do, and not just someone that wants to toy this or look at it as a hobby. Because spines are serious. Spines are not hobbies. Okay,
No.
it's not like a relaxation massage or a day spa massage, which is great, and I like getting those. There's no doubt about that. But it's not a hobby like that. It's something that's serious. So we want to look at people who are really serious at shining and standing out in their community to be a professional as a master practitioner in Spinopractic massage.
So something that I want to bring up is the fact that you've created a model of
Yes.
success.
Yes, that's exactly
You
right.
started this in Adelaide,
Yeah.
and you brought it to Brisbane, and
So
you've been able to model that success for yourself in different cities.
Yes, I have, and that's a great thing to point out. See, I've come from a background where I was debilitated at the age of 12, and when I say debilitated, actually, I remember we were attempting to play squash. Okay, I was about to hit my first stroke, and I just froze. It felt like someone came and put two machetes in the back of my lower back and rammed them down my legs. And it was horrible. It was horrible. So I just froze and I turned white, and my friend next to me looked at me like he was looking at a zombie. He was so frightened. So then, obviously, he went to the teacher. So because we went with the teacher, they put me in the back of the station wagon. We could do that back then. Apparently we were safer drivers back then, I don't know what it was, but we could put me in the station wagon, and then they carried me onto the couch. And this is where the real problem began. This is where the real problem, because the real problem was now, how do I go to the bathroom?
Yeah.
Okay, now I'll do that with a smile on my face because I remember how determined I was. So I had to get myself off the couch because I couldn't ask for my mum's help. She was help. She was riddled with arthritis. My dad was at work. There was nobody around. So I was busting, and I didn't really want to go on the couch. Okay, so I somehow got myself on the ground with all fours, and a burst of chemistry just hit. And I'm quite sure some of you have experienced this, where this burst of nitric oxide, or laughing gas as we like to call it, just went through my body. So I was in hysterics, in pain, crawling to go to the bathroom. And this is where everything changed. This was the moment that changed my life. The pivotal moment that changed my life. Because as I was crawling to the bathroom, this mantra was coming in me. I've got to be in control of my life. I've got to have a strong spine. I'm changing my life right now. I'm going to change the way I eat. I'm going to change the way I think. I'm going to change everything about my life. This is the moment I have to take control. And so as much as I was going through this mixed feelings, I went through this instant empowerment program, okay, that happened immediately. However, the pain was still there, okay. It doesn't mean that I'm empowered now, I'm fine.
No.
And this is where it all started. And God bless my parents. They did the best they could. They took me to the hospital to see what was going on, and some of my bones were already degenerated, which is pretty alarming. However, my mind went racing to, what do I do? It's like, what have I done, and what do I do to change it?
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm so glad that happened when I was 12, that change in there was a big paradigm shift, and that began my journey. Because look, the medical profession just wanted to give me painkillers. I didn't want painkillers. Okay, as you know that story, I didn't want painkillers at all. What I wanted is a solution, and they couldn't give me a solution. I said, well, thank you, but I'm going to look at different ways. And my mum said, well, why don't you talk to your uncle? And this is where it all started. My uncle did that funny massage stuff, okay? That's what I had no idea. That they used to call them hands of gold, okay? And I do remember being in my uncle's house, all these people coming in because he was working from home, and they would be transformed. They would just be amazing. And I'm like, what does he do? Right. And I found out firsthand what he does. He actually got me back walking, and don't get me wrong, he made me cry a few times, but he was seeing me quite often during the week. But he got me walking again. It was just absolutely amazing, and he became my first mentor. So I'm very blessed, very, very blessed with this. And then from that, it gave me a foundation to go out and find more mentors and look for practitioners that do amazing things. And from the, God bless them, they're all passed away now. Okay, except for one. You know, he's a dear friend of mine, but he'll come in later in the equation.
Bring him in now. Yeah, you have one surviving mentor there. That's right.
And
he's a good friend.
Great friend. And so I just kept looking for practitioners that would mentor me as a teenager. But that was purely for me. That was purely for me to improve, for me to be in control of my spine. So I went down both the physical and down the emotional track, and that's something that we bring into the training in really understanding the differences in a great mindset and understanding emotions and how that affects the body as well. So
which is all part of the course.
Which is all part of the course, of course, yes. So that was my journey, going out and being mentored by amazing practitioners in all sorts of different modalities and different professions.
Yeah,
Okay.
fantastic.
So that's how I picked that up, but I didn't do it for a profession. It wasn't going to be my career. I did it purely
that was for you.
Purely to, and at the same time, as I was getting mentored, I was feeling muscles, feeling people's spines, not because I was out there learning a career, but because I wanted to learn how the dynamics of muscles and how it all works, and that just continued my growth.
That sparked your passion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Until the day that I decided, okay, well, what am I going to do with my life? I'll just do some massage. Okay.
I'm good at it. I should just do it.
Yeah. So I did a massage course, and it was great. And started my own business, and boy, did I suck at business. But anyway.
I think every entrepreneur has that
I really
story.
want you guys to learn from my mistakes. I really do, and we teach that also in the course. So come 2003, this is now 10 years later, because I set up my first practice, well, mobile practice in 93. I finally got into a gym in 98, and by the time 2003 came along, I was like, I can't do this anymore, because the way I was working only took 5-10 minutes, and everything else was just fluff. It was just time, because we were taught that you do things in time, in 30 minutes and 60 minutes, 45 minutes, 2 hours, all this stuff, and I put that in my menu. And I was frustrated. I got rid of the 2 hours when, people were always asking for half an hour or 60 minutes. And the thing is, it took me 10 minutes to do whatever I had to do, and the rest was all time and space fillers. Okay, and I feel like I was going to fall asleep, and I think I probably did fall asleep in some moments. Because it's like, well, what do I do now? I just have to stay in this point and ease off, because it's done what it's done in the first few seconds, and now what do I do? But anyway.
It's meditation.
Exactly.
But then your mentor,
something happened.
Yeah.
So in 2003, I said, that's it, I'm done. I'm not going to massage anymore. And that's where I met he's a great friend of mine now. And he looks at me, he goes, you can't quit. I just found you. It's like, one of the best practitioners I know, you can't stop. And I said to him, well, it only takes me 5 to 10 minutes to do everything, and then I can't do the rest. It's just, it really sickens me. I'm like, it really grates at me. He goes, well, just do what you do.
It's a novel idea.
And I looked at him and I went, huh? You know those moments? You just go, huh? Okay. And he looks at me and he goes, just do what you do, forget about everything else. And I'm like, my brain wasn't computing. Yeah, it was like one of those moments that my brain just like, you could almost hear the cogs turning. And I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, look, I work at a place that we verbalize feet, and it takes like a couple of minutes, and people pay us more for that than they do for you, and over for what you charge for 45 minutes. Huh? Okay, so he helped me open up my world. Okay, and so then I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it.
Give it a try.
I'm just going to do what I do the things that I love doing, the things that actually get the results, and forget about everything else. Now, wow, did this blow me away? Because I went from 15 to 20 clients a week doing your normal 1 hour things, and
35 minutes, 30 minutes.
and 30 minutes and 45 minutes and things like that. I went from that to 100 clients a week in less than 12 weeks.
Wow.
Now, that blew me away. Like, I'm thinking to myself now, where have I been all these years? You've had those moments, like, what was I doing? And that was just a moment for me, like, wow. So I just kept growing and kept growing and kept growing. By the time 2007 came along, someone says, you've got to name what you do, because you can't just call it massage, it's something different. And a lot of people would say, well, what do you call it? What do you call it? What do you call it? And so I had to sit down and say, well, I'm using massage techniques, and I'm a practitioner of the spine, because the spine is the foundation of what I do. So Spinopractic massage is what I do. So so I did that, Spinopractic massage, and I registered the name Spinopractic massage, and it was just great. People were like, that's great, that's a great name, it just flows, it's fantastic. And all my clients were pretty happy with that. Okay, so
they wanted to learn.
So before you knew it, people wanted to learn what I did, and I'm like, I don't know where you go to learn this. It's like I've just developed it over time, and so the more I did this, the more people were encouraging me that I have to come up with a course. So I didn't actually sit down and say to myself, I want to create a course. It just I had to do it, because I couldn't find anything like this. So I had to sit down. I'm like, I owe it to my industry that I can't just be the one doing this. I have to develop a curriculum. And I'm like, I've got to develop a curriculum? I'm like, I don't do that. So
you go from being a massage practitioner to being an instructor?
Yes.
Pretty powerful. That's a pretty powerful shift.
I'm not just an instructor. I had to come up with a curriculum. I'm like, whoa.
Well, that's true, because you have to get authority, right?
Yeah, because what happened is that 7 years later, this is now 2014, and I've got my course approved, and I had my first 7 students in my first course, and that was just phenomenal for me. I'm like, wow, people really need this. People really need this. Then somehow I ended up with a couple of students in Brisbane, and then by the time it was 2015, I decided to move to Brisbane, and I made a few bad decisions in regards to my personal life. Ended up with almost nothing, or when I say almost nothing, I still had my faculties. Okay.
Thankfully you did.
And I got to Brisbane, and I had to start my life all over again. However, I had my resources. As I said, when you've done it once, you can do it again. It didn't take me long at all to build see over 100 clients a week. And that wasn't in my practice because I didn't have the resources to have my own practice. I started working in other practices, which is part of what we do in this course. Because of my experiences, I'm here to teach you how to have your own practice, because now we're actually doing this talk through in our own practice, or how to work with others in their practices and how to thrive doing that. And so we teach you how to be able to do that as well, through all the experiences that I've gone through, and strategies that you can use to be able to do that. Okay.
Which is how we met.
Yes.
Gratefully,
yes.
in 2015.
Yeah, in 2015. Because in 2015, when I got here, I was at a few places, and one place wanted me to teach their practitioners, and one of them thrived, but I quickly got out of that situation. I can talk about that in a different seminar, on why I had to get out of that quickly. But I was thriving in a chiropractic office, and I quickly found a place in a gym. And one of these guys that I was teaching said, I can't work at this other place anymore. Can I come and work with you? And I said, well, I just found a place in a gym. If you're happy to see as 0 clients to begin with, because I've got no clients there, and you're willing to go for the ride, I suggest probably don't give up your job, just build. It took him 12 weeks to replace his income in half, by working half the time, probably even less than half the time. He was like, it was completely like thinking, this is amazing, this is awesome. And then the hobby was referred to me by a chiropractor.
Yeah.
You can tell that and how that works.
Oh, well, I came to the chiropractor for help with my spine because I felt so locked up. And found out I had bursitis in both of my shoulders, which is a fairly debilitating affliction of inflammation in the shoulder, which meant that my children were helping me get dressed. I couldn't move my arms very much. Frozen shoulder, you're probably familiar with. And chiropractor sent me down the hall to meet this guy.
Yeah.
And he stuck some steel thumbs into my back. Pushed me in a few places that were pretty painful actually, but relieving, and
you couldn't
it made the difference. I couldn't move my arms.
So you got to think, Holly was doing kinesiology.
Yeah, well,
so
what I could do of it.
So you got to think, how much was that affecting your practice? How much was that affecting your lifestyle? 2 kids.
Being a parent of 2 children and trying to have my own business really wasn't functioning. And so, for me it was life-saving.
So going from that,
I could work, I could move my arms more, I could move up. I came back 2 days later and said, please do it again. Is that okay? Can you do what you did again? And that was actually, I was a loyal client for 2 years. But, 2 times to 3 times a week, because I needed it, and it made the biggest difference for me. It changed my headspace in the end, because it was really helping my central nervous system, having more functionality, mobility, etc. And then I begged him. I said, please teach me. You need more people doing this.
So I finally introduced the course to Brisbane, and Holly and another lady were the first 2 that I taught after that initial gentleman. And I said to Holly, and then Holly says, oh, can I work with you? And I said, well, there's some shifts that you can have at the gym. Maybe if you mingle and talk, because I didn't have any marketing program at this stage. So she said, mingle at the gym and see if you can find some clients. And
I didn't do so well at that one. I wasn't much of a gym junkie, so I didn't gel.
Well, I was focusing on opening up my first practice, and this is in 2018. And when I did a pre-launch that I was going to open up, a marketing company in the US came up to me and said, look, have you considered doing some Facebook ads, and if you choose us, we'll guarantee you that we'll find you 20 new clients a month, or you don't pay anything. And I'm like,
Good deal.
that's pretty good. I never found a marketing company to do that. So I said, okay. Now they were finding me 20 clients a week.
Mm.
And I was like, okay, let's do this. And I said, Holly, do you want to come and help me at
The other center?
at the practice? She goes, yeah. Now tell them how quickly did you build it? Like how
Wow.
what?
So going from 1 to 3 clients a week in the gym,
Yeah.
with the very low marketing, word of mouth, massive effort I was making, to having this marketing already done, clients just flowing in. I probably in about 3 to 6 weeks got up to 1,600 a week, and that's just my take home.
That's pretty good, yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. That's take home. That's not turnover, yeah?
Yeah.
So does that change people's lives?
Changed mine.
It changes people's lives.
Yeah.
Now, Holly was totally devoted to the mission of Spinopractic massage. She goes, you have to create more courses, okay?
We need more people.
And now we've got this great marketing program, and so we said, okay, well let's do this. And before you knew it, we had 8 locations with 15 contractors. That's before COVID hit, and we had to. Now we've got 3 locations. It's all good. It's all,
Things change. That's all right.
we have to adapt. If we don't adapt,
adapt.
we fizzle out and atrophy. Okay, so we need to adapt. Okay, which is part of how we work. We want the muscles to adapt so they don't atrophy. Okay.
Well, that's the great thing. You know, we have just mentioned something that's been pretty poignant to society, and how a lot of businesses have taken quite a hit. And yet, through all of this, we've been able to pursue. We've actually filled a niche in our community here, people who have a need that we're able to match and really help.
Yes.
And that's been a beautiful thing. It's been such a treasure to be able to help people through difficult times.
Part of all this we actually teach. It's not like we're not just teaching a bunch of techniques.
No.
Okay, we're not just teaching how to palpate, but we're actually teaching a whole system of being able to thrive in your community. So we go through, we go through being an excellent practitioner.
Yeah.
Because for me, if you're not an excellent practitioner, forget about marketing, forget about having a great business, because what's the point? Okay, we don't want to help people having a thriving business of sloppiness. We want excellent practitioners. Okay, this is why I take this very seriously. Okay, so so part of this, so does that answer your question on how this Spinopractic massage came about?
Wow, you gave such a phenomenal answer. I was actually thinking we should probably show them a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's show you what it actually looks like. Okay.
Now, you want to see what we do, right?
Now, can we? Yes. If you can lie down on the table there for me, Holly.
Okay.
And I'm just going to have a look as we do this, whether this camera is in the right position. I'm quite sure it is. Okay.
I don't know. Can you see enough of my back there?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So look, these are the 2 things I'm going to be looking for. Okay. I'm going to be looking for, 1, where the muscle is going to be working hard.
Probably right there.
Well, this is Holly's showing me her symptoms. Okay, we'll talk about that. We talk about that in real depth during the training. I'm going to be checking where muscles are working extremely hard, and also I'm going to be checking where muscles have switched off and potentially have atrophy. Okay, so what we want to, so I'm going to be looking at Holly just up here. Okay, so as you can see, my palpation is really very, very specific, and with Holly right now, as I'm checking the muscle that we call the posterior scaling, it's working very, very hard, and that's probably because we've been sitting down doing the seminar. Okay, and what happens is that's one part of our postural muscle. So, but what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be pushing right into that muscle in the same direction that that muscle's working, okay, and then pushing and then feeling the fascia, and then I'm just going to get that fascia and mobilize it, okay, and then what happens, I'm going to be checking it again to make sure that that's eased off, okay, and that's the thing about what we do. We don't just check and hope for the best, we actually recheck to see, to make sure that our technique has helped that person instantly, okay? Then I'm going to be checking for where there's potential that that the muscle is switched off. And with Holly, see, and this is something that when she first came in, Holly had strands, like really small strain, like it almost felt like little thin ropes all along her spine, because of how much it was breaking down. And it's no wonder she couldn't move her shoulders. And you could massage the shoulders, but if you weren't looking at the foundation of the spine, it was never going to, that's why she wasn't getting the results that she wanted. And right next to the spine, there's still, now this is years later, there's still a little bit of inactivity happening. So I'm going to go in that, placing stimulus in that area, but again, I'm placing some stimulus. You can't put too much because in that area the muscle's already broken down. So the last thing you want to do is be part of the problem and break it down more. So what we want to do is stimulate it a little bit, feel the fascia around it, and just work in that way. And we do that all the way down the spine until we do every single area, okay? And we use thumbs, we use elbows, and the most important thing is how we position our arms. And that's something that we learn during the course, because you want to be able to position yourself where you're not taxing your body too much, okay? You're putting the least amount of force in your body to create the most amount of force in your technique. Okay, excellent, Holly. Thanks for that.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so what we do, the techniques that we do, the great thing about our techniques is that they're simple and effective because we're working in the same direction that the muscle's working. So we're not introducing anything that the body doesn't want to do. We're going straight to the heart. Yeah? Does that make sense?
It felt like it. Definitely
Yeah.
felt like you were straight into something.
So look, let's talk seriously about this course, okay? Because we want to make sure that you guys understand what you're getting here in this course, okay?
Well, really, to understand the true value, there's an intense value here. It's not just, like you said, a modality.
See, every time someone comes in, they get their spine assessed. You don't just assess it once and assess it again in 3 months' time. You assess it each and every time they come in because you're feeling the dynamic of what the muscles are doing every single time.
And there's no crazy gimmicks.
No crazy gimmicks, okay? However, there's highly skilled palpation. That's something that we're going to guarantee and promise to you, that you're highly skilled palpation. You're going to be feeling things in ways, even if you're a current practitioner, feeling things in ways that you weren't feeling before.
And we want you to know there's no manipulation or adjustments, just pure muscle and fascia mobilization.
Exactly. We're not here to adjust any joints. We'll leave that to the chiropractors and the osteos and
the other practitioners that do what we don't.
So you get hands-on techniques. Okay. Yes. Okay. Now all the theory. The great news is we've packaged it so you can actually study at home at your own pace. Okay, so it's your at-home certification pack. Okay, which you have access to through the website, through online. Okay. Now the great thing about what we do is that each week we're going to be live doing question and answer, so we can actually help you during this whole the whole study period. Now, these workshops you're going to get for life. It's not just, you don't just get these workshops for the life of you getting your certification. You're going to be getting these workshops as well afterwards. So when you graduate and when you become a practitioner, we're going to be encouraging you to keep coming to these workshops. So, and we can help you with questions that you have about that as well.
Yeah, it's a fabulous support network, so
Yes.
you can stay up to date with
Yeah.
any changes
Exactly.
or any improvements or any feedback, and you can be there to actually feedback to new practitioners who are coming in.
And this is the great thing, is that because it's online, whenever we change content online, you're going to be getting that as well. So you're going to be getting upgrades for life. It's not something that you have to purchase an upgrade. You're going to be getting those upgrades as they go along. Okay, so we're always going to support you with the questions that you have. So what else do you get? What else do you get?
That's a lot already. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well.
So think about this.
This is where the good stuff really kicks in.
Now, as I was saying, I want you guys to learn from all the crazy mistakes that I've made. Okay, and I actually go through them with you. I go through those stories with you on how it happened and how it could have been avoided and so forth. So you learn from that, and that's called the Business Profitability Workshop. That's just wow.
That's a pretty valuable thing right there.
That's worth tens of thousands just there, based on what I've been what people have paid me in the past to do business coaching and so forth. Then
Relationship Paradigm Workshop.
Yeah.
Wow, that is a powerful workshop, because you have to think, we're in relationship with our clients, we're in relationship with our colleagues, we're in relationship with the marketers, we're in relationship with our family.
Yes.
Those dynamics play a massive role on our mindset and how we get people to come back and see us or refer us or support us.
And this is a big thing. This touches me deeply in the heart, because my practice was ruined because of a bad decision that I made with a relationship that I had. I'm very grateful for being out of that, but and being able to bounce back. But you make terrible decisions in a relationship. The number one cause of practices going bust are personal relationships. And unfortunately, fortunately or unfortunately, you know, I want you guys to learn from this, because being able to have an awesome relationship with your partner, okay, and I'm so grateful. I am so grateful to that something happened along the way with Holly, and I'm very grateful for having her as my life partner. But we teach the Relationship Paradigm Workshop because this really gets into the heart of you, and you having a great relationships with yourself. Because if you want to become an excellent practitioner, you want to make sure that every part of your life is excellent.
Indeed. And that always starts right with the self.
Yeah.
And that is an amazing gift that we give you in this program.
Yeah.
Now, I've done a lot of sales.
Yes.
I have done features and benefits sales.
Yeah.
I've done high pressured sales. I've done telecom sales. Oh, when you put me in the gym, that was torture. I was so grateful that we could actually change the model of how we market, change the model of how we find leads. And I really was able to utilize some of those skills that I had from before in a whole new way, thanks to your 5-step sales process.
And see, we call it the sales process, but it's about getting rid of the salesy stuff, because the communication skills that we teach is the package of results. We help people get results, and people can see that not only in the way that we explain things, but also in what they experience when we put our hands on them. Okay, and the things that I get all the time is, I've never experienced this ever before in my life. No one's ever been able to get to those areas. I've been craving this for so long, because we're focused on results. So therefore, it's, as you called it, it's the 5-step
results process.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
But because we focus on the results, we don't focus on selling them anything. So the next thing we teach, which is part of the business profitability workshop, is being able to understand how you can have unlimited cash flow. Because if you decide to have your own practice, then we can help you have other practitioners. So we can teach other practitioners that can come into your practice, and then you can run a successful business. So that's why it's unlimited. And we say unlimited because I don't want to put my limitations on what you can do, on how much you can thrive. Just because I thought, going from 20 to 100 was amazing, you probably thought, I'll do that in a day, whatever. Okay, but I don't want to put that limitation on you. So it's about having an unlimited potential. Okay, and then one of my favorites,
the adaptive life system.
Yeah, absolutely.
The adaptive life systems workshop is really that in-depth exploration
At the cellular level.
Of the cellular.
What happens at the cellular level for the body to be able to adapt forces for its own benefit, and what happens when a destructive force comes in. So we go pretty specific in that, and it really puts everything. I like to call this workshop the beauty within, because it's really exploring this beautiful artistic flow that's happening inside our bodies that most people take for granted. And the more we understand it, the more we can utilize it, the more we can help it thrive instead of burying it down and pushing it down and being part of the destruction.
That's right.
Or ignoring it. Here, have a painkiller so you don't feel with your body anymore. Okay, so what happens in all those situations?
Yeah.
Now, another thing we're going to be teaching you is how to look after these things.
And these things, and these things, and these things.
How many practitioners I've met have had bad shoulders, bad fingers, and they're sore, and here I am seeing 3, 4, 5 times the amount that they see per week, and I don't have those problems. And that's because of how I look after my joints and how I look after my fingers and how I look after my body. So we're going to go through that as well. Okay, that's part of this whole process. It's a whole system. It's a profession. It's a business system. It's a lead generation system. It's a relationship system, personal development system. You get all of this in our workshop, and so therefore we're looking for people who are really serious about investing in this, because it's not just a weekend, bam bam, thank you ma'am workshop. It's a system where you can change your life, and you can do it quite quickly. As Holly, she did it in less time than I did. I did it in 12 weeks. She did it in 6. Okay, so go figure that one out. Okay?
Well, that's because of your coaching.
Well,
at the end of the day, it's what you make of it.
Yeah.
So you think of the first person who ran faster than 4 minutes, and now we have people who laugh at the thought of taking 4 minutes.
Yes,
at the same time.
Yeah,
that's right. So at the end of the day, that profitability, that ability to reach more people.
Yeah.
We're giving you the tools to make that the most you can possibly make it if you want to make it.
Absolutely.
Incredible.
So look, if you're serious, this is who we're looking for. If you're really, really serious on taking this on board and you're willing to make the investment, we want you to click below to make an appointment with us. Okay, you can have an appointment with Holly or myself. It doesn't really matter, and we'll go through. We'll spend an hour with you, just having a chat.
Yeah.
Answering any questions.
Questions.
We'll go through with you exactly what you're going to be going through. It's an orientation. We're going to be going through a whole orientation of what the course is all about, so you can really get into the nuts and bolts of what we do.
Yeah,
And,
we want you to make something of yourself if
Yeah.
you want to make something of yourself. So
exactly.
click that link below so you can get in touch with us and we can actually start to explore
Yep.
the possibility of you becoming a Spinopractic massage professional.
Absolutely. Thank you for listening. I look forward to hearing you guys on the other side.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank you.
Bye.